So last week I scrapped a video called How to Be Creative, and that was kind of the birthplace for this video. If you know me, you know that we don't spread negativity here. The sole reason why I created this video is because I wanted to see it. And I know that everyone who's on some sort of creative journey have or will or are feeling the things that I'm feeling right now. And I don't want you to feel lonely. I want you to know that we're all in this together. Alright, so the number one thing that annoys the hell out of me is imposter syndrome. Somehow we have this image of what a creative person looks like. We imagine this person as someone who's very artistic, who's doing artistic things all the time. Like they should know at least one of the many things that we find creative, like dancing, singing, painting, home decor, something that's artistic, something that's not logical, like coding. But the truth is, not all creative brains are doing creative things. Now, I would think that coding is one of the many creative things out there which look as far to creativity as it can. And what this does is it makes you feel like an imposter because everyone keeps telling you that you're a creative person, but you don't feel that way. You know it in your bones that you are a creative person because creativity is not about what you're able to put out in the world, which world believes to be creative. It's more about a way of brain, how your brain sees everything. But if you're not doing something that is believed to be creative, you would start doubting yourself and you would question whether or not you are creative enough. And this will lead you to part ways from tools and techniques that can actually help you. If you come across some article that says how to be efficient in your creative journey, you're not gonna look at it because you don't think you're on a creative journey, but you are actually, in fact. So if you've been feeling that way or if you've been looking for validation, here I am validating it for you. You don't have to prove to everyone or yourself that you are a creative person. And if you don't have the outlet to let out your creative energy, you need to create one because it's not good to keep that energy inside yourself, and you know exactly what I mean. Another thing which is quite related to this one is perfectionism and loneliness. Now, if you are someone who would call themselves a creative person, you know that you are bound to have some of the perfectionist traits where you have really high set of expectations for yourself, and when you're not able to match them, you beat yourself up. You might have an idea that you absolutely love and you want it to exist in the real world exact same way as exists in your brain, but that's not always possible. And when there is a huge gap in what it looks like in your head and what it looks in reality, you might go into this little hellhole of self-doubt and isolation and a sense of creative blockage of ideas. The way I see it, when you are in this early phase of your creative journey, when you haven't achieved much in life, you tend to feel this sense of loneliness. And I don't mean that you're staying in your room painting for an entire week. I mean the sense of loneliness in your brain, that you have this idea but you have no way to know if it is a good idea because it's not like you can give someone a peek of your brain. And a lot of times it's harder to see the progress you've made because most of the work happens in your brain before any of it starts to show up on paper. For example, when I film videos, I have been working all week before I sit down and set up my lights and actually start filming. The actual work happens before I press recording, but I have no physical proof of any of the work that I've done throughout the week. And then comes feedback. A lot of times when I'm in early phase of my creative journey, I might not be the best at executing my ideas the way I want them to be. So the feedback I will receive will be based on what they see I was trying to do, not on what I was actually doing. For example, when I used to write fiction, a lot of feedback used to come to me that whatever I'm writing is very dramatic. What they didn't know and what I couldn't explain was what I was going for was something cinematic. But since I wasn't so great at creating what was in my head in real life, I ended up making them dramatic. At that point of time, it's really important that I have the sensibility that the feedback is coming off from a different perspective than what it should come from ideally. And if I give up on what I was trying to do, I'm gonna end up doing something different than I wanted to do. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just something to keep in mind, that if I am going to accept feedback, I need to make sure that it is coming from the right perspective and I am giving myself enough time to do what I really want to do. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is creative blockage. Now, it's not a new concept, everyone knows about it, but I need you to realize one thing, which I'm sure you know already, but maybe just don't realize. Creative blockage is not when you don't have ideas. It's when you don't like your ideas. And I think it happens a lot of time because you've been storing them for too long. For example, when you have an idea that you think is really good and then you store it because you don't think you're good enough to execute it right now, and then they keep piling up, and then at one point of time they stop being relatable to you, or they stop being as good to you because now you've grown into something much more than what you were at that point of time. So the best tip I can give you for that is you don't have to wait for the perfect time to execute your best ideas. The perfect time is right now. I think the most important thing for any creative person, including myself, is to enjoy the creative journey. Whatever it is that I'm putting out in the world, it's very important to me that I like what I'm doing. It doesn't matter if anyone else likes it, if anyone understands it, or if I get any validation or approval for the same. If I enjoy it enough, I will make it. Well, if it's about making it in the world, I will make it. I will end up making it. That's all. Please creating everything that you want to create, and please enjoy the journey. And please like this video if you found it useful, because, well, it does help, quite honestly. Alright, I'll see you in my next one. No, actually I'd love to see you in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I'd want to hear them. Bye bye.